welcome to Atheist Hangout again. So we are going to discuss about atheists outside atheism. Okay. So for example, like what do atheists do apart from being an atheist? Like, do we have any other activities that, or any other activity that we do outside religion, right? Like, for example, I'm going to give an example is environment, right? So, do atheists also do atheists love to conserve environment? Do atheists plant trees? Do they participate in social works? Right? So this is going to be a very open discussion. So the first point we are going to discuss about is about environmentalism. Right? Then now we go to politics, where we also have atheists, because there are just some aspects that binds us together, but also we have people with also different opinions now like the political ones, because I'm sure here we have atheists who have different political affiliations, right? We have those who are for the Wajakoyas, right? We have the Azimios, and also we have also who are apolitical, those who are not, like me, right? Another thing is also ethics and morality. Yeah. So apart from atheism, apart from just speaking about non-belief, right? What else do we have about ethics and morality? Another thing we'll touch also is philosophy. Then we'll also touch about science and rationalism, and that's all. So I'm going to make this a very open discussion. So anyone can start. So we can start from, let's start from politics. Politics.
Yeah. So I'll start by defining atheism. Atheism is just, do you think there is God? No. That's it. So to a large extent, atheism does not tell you anything about anybody. It just tells you this person does not believe in God. That's it. It doesn't tell you what is their favorite food, what is their favorite sport, what is their favorite pastime activity. It's just that. Just like if I ask you, what do you do for a living? I'm a teacher. That's it. It doesn't tell you what you do for what you like, what your social life is. It doesn't tell me anything else other than that's it. So the question is, what do atheists do other than atheism? Pretty much what everybody else does. We are out there, we do everything what else done. So the first topic is on politics. And let me just say this. Probably the reason why this topic came up is because unlike atheism, religion seems to influence a lot of spheres in people's life, from their politics, from their even food, from their dress code, from their everything they do, they want to base it on religion. Even when some things they do, they are contrary to religion, they still want to find a way to link it to their religious belief. But for atheism, it's very different. You're just an atheist, and if you like going out in nature, if you like environment, if you like, it does not even tell you your political, because if you look at the last election, it was mostly religious driven. It was religion. It was okay. Kenya is 90-something, almost 90% religion. So it was religious moderates versus religious extremes. So it was a religious ideology. So there are people who merely voted for their candidate or supported a certain candidate, not because of the policy, economic policy or social policy, but because this is our candidate. He says we are a Christian nation. The narrative was we are a Christian nation. We are one nation under God, and a lot of mantras that are being thrown around. And that one, so for an atheist, this is, okay, let me qualify that. Not for an atheist. You are an atheist, but you have freedom to engage in whatever political opinion. Because the only thing we would insist as an atheist is to base your decisions on evidence. So if there's a political side or a political candidate that has given you a good manifesto, a good plan for what you're going to do, and it's based on this, it's not just about promising we are going to build Kamanini Stadium and other places, you know. If they are giving you rational justification, then you can go for that. And finally, there is no candidate who fits a certain profile. There is no political party that fits a certain ideal. So there are things I like about this political party, there are things I like about the other political party, there are things I like about different political parties. And it's just choosing the lesser evil. There are also things I don't like in all of them. So sometimes it's about choosing the lesser evil. So it's a rational, anything would only try to encourage you to use logic and evidence to arrive at any political position or any other position anyway.
Right. I would like to echo his sentiments and take us back to 2022. Actually, 2022 was like a child, a 4-year-old being in a chocolate factory if they love politics. So it was an election year and everybody was talking about politics. Who are you going to choose for governor? Who are you going to choose as your member of parliament? Who are you going to choose as your president? And what are your justifications? In fact, as a society, we normally have meetings, Zoom meetings, every Friday and Sunday, unless it is a video shoot day like today. We have to have Sunday service. We have to thank the Lord Almighty Zeus for his divine providence. So in those Zoom meetings, we usually talk about various topics. It can be anything under the sun. And I remember at the time, we would pick a topic. It would be anything. So for instance, polygamy is still relevant today as a mode of marriage. And I remember that, sorry for that. I remember that at the time, we would pick a topic and speak about it for about 1 hour. And then for the rest of the Zoom meeting, we would delve into politics. People are such these atheists here, you see them here, they're such political animals. And the thing about those discussions, what I loved about them is that they were fact-based and evidence-based. Because that is the essence of skepticism. That's the reason why we differentiate ourselves from the religious masses. We focus on evidence and we focus on facts. So people would give their predictions. For instance, after the first announcement was made and President Ruto at the time, he was deputy president, was declared the winner, it elicited a lot of reactions from us. And when ODM said that they are going to file a petition, ODM and several other independent parties decided that they are going to file an election petition, I remember people came with facts. It is one of us, he's called Timoruth. Unfortunately, he doesn't live in Nairobi, so he's not able to join us in the video shoots. I remember Timoruth became a temporary lawyer. The way he would tell us that this is how the case would go. They using what they did in 2013 and what happened in 2017. So this is the evidence they are presenting. What are the changes that the IEBC has made? And yes, how is it going to go? So I found that it was very interesting, even though we all had our preferred candidates. Some of us actually chose to abstain. They didn't pick anybody. Or maybe they belonged to Wajakoya, and unfortunately, he didn't even get 1%. Yeah, all those keyboard warriors. So, even though we had divergent political opinions, at the end of the day, what we wanted was to encourage discourse and we wanted to base it off of facts. You say something, support it. Yeah. What do you mean that the IEBC did not fix the server? You know, give us an example, give us this and that. And so it was very engaging, and that's generally the approach we use for such topics.
For me, politics, my influence is rather open. Mine is more academically driven. So I look at politics from a more scientific point of view. And the funny thing is, usually when I engage with Kenyans, normal Kenyans, they are very bitter towards me, because if you point out the the obvious things, you'll be amazed at of how Kenyans are so negligent on the most obvious things in politics. For instance, when Ruto, when he was campaigning, he promised that he would bring the economy down. You see, from a normal Kenyan point of view, you feel the economy, you feel the price, you say, enye wacha tu tumweke kwa sababu iungazi. But to me, you see, I did economics in campus, some economics units, so I'm well versed with economics. And from an economist point of view, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Kwa sababu I know economics haifanyakani hivyo. It's not something that you snap overnight alafu everything changes. Even currently, the way people are hoping they should lower the expectations. Economically, it's not looking well. Yeah. So politics, politics is everything. Politics is everywhere. Because politics is interests, just interests. And if I'm not political, you're not making sense. Because uko na interest, everybody has an interest. Now, is the interest how to solve those interests? This is the politics. People who look after your interests, people who have the same interests as you, even mtazama meander around bargaining, leverage, hizo ndio zinatokea from politics. So it's simple to interest, to simple. Nataka hii, unataka hii, tufanyaje, politics. Na man is a social creature, so lazima politics iko hapo involved. And politics in this country, tutasema it's so immature. Like, if this country politically to be dressed up as a human being, na age and everything, watu tuka 6 years pale. You see, because we are doing pretty things, but if you look at politics, the more we advanced, if we will advance well enough. If you look at politics, with the age, if let's say our aspirations are as high as we expect them to be as a country, if tukiacha hii utoto na tuanze something more like other countries, we will follow in suit now. The more years pass, we will adapt new structures within these structures zenye ziko. Tuta outgrow hizi zenye tuko nazo sasa, and we'll develop more efficient ones. So like currently the politics of these countries is here and there. So to me, I would say I'm also non-political. I don't bother much about the politics, the politics like the superficial one, because they are more scientific. So just don't care, like currently.
Okay. For my case, first I want to agree partly with Liki.
as a human being, as an atheist, you cannot run away from the fact that we are conscious. Yeah? And I believe that being apolitical is in fact immoral. If God was existed, they should be the first group to go to hell. because politics shape everything. We are here because of politics. The way we wake up, with where we live, what we eat, the currency that we use.
Yes.
These decisions are made by politicians. So there's no way you can be apolitical. Anyway, people have a different perspective. But for our case, Kenya, it is very sad that our Kenyan politics, most of our leaders or politicians have relied on religious psychology to win or mobilize the voters.
True.
So because of these religious view, they have tapped into that grouping, and instead of looking at ways they can help Kenyans, they are tricking them into believing that everything will be well using religion. And that's why I find that instead of dealing or tackling our issues Kenyan face directly, politicians go to pray. We have had very many occasions where we have National Prayer Day.
Yes.
Oh,
On a crowd, yet instead of, for example, creating irrigation schemes, jailing corrupt people, we go to pray.
Yes.
In the same event, a lot of money is wasted on prayers.
Buddhism.
So I think it is high time that everyone should be political, and we should shy away. We should move to look at critical issues facing Kenyans, not look at voting in terms of wanting religious people to side with the politicians. Yes, that's my take.
Okay, for me, what I'll say, I remember in these Zoom meetings there, we had a very important topic about whether to vote or not to vote. It was very heated because we were seeing what's the point of voting? Because when you vote, there's no difference.
Yes.
Things remain the same. So yeah, so it was a very heated debate. But just to think about it, do you vote or not? Because at times things don't change.
All right. So because of time, so we are also going to discuss other 2 points. So you are saying about politics is about interest. Do you get uninterested on something? Can you get uninterested in something?
How can, like, okay, you can, but there's, you're a human being. We share common interests. Just because we're human beings, we share common interests. It's default, it's by default.
For example,
if let's say I'm a tiger and you're a person, our interests are not the same.
of course.
But if I'm a human being and you're a human being, I mean, we have common interests.
So,
we share common interests.
Like for example, I used to be a very ruthless footballer.
Okay.
But I lost interest later on. So the same way in politics, all right? People lose interest, and you become apolitical. Yes.
Let me just say something. I think what we are not getting is the definition of term. Apolitical means like any society, registered society, like or even church, they are expected to be apolitical.
Yes.
That means they do not actively participate in politics.
Yes.
That is different from being not non-political. Where you don't participate in politics. You don't actively, like the way you're saying about football. Football is played whether there are people who don't even know the rules or anything. Those ones you can say they have no interest in politics. But there are people who are not playing football, but maybe I'm a coach, or maybe I own a club. Those ones are not footballers, but they are not non-football. So people who are non-political are like, you cannot afford to be apolitical per se. Because you look at it basically, when prices go up for everything, it affects those who are in politics, those who are not in politics. You want prices to come down. You want life to be affordable. You want to reduce corruption. Those are shared values because you pay tax in this country. You don't want that tax to be used efficiently. So those are political decisions. The problem in Kenya is politics is very murky. And that's why most people want to keep at it. It's not a rational discourse. People think politics is one thing, then economics is one thing, then public policy is one thing, then labor issues are different things. The way we resolve all those issues is what is politics. You can run away from the mainstream political parties nonsense, but you cannot be completely apolitical.
Exactly. Yeah, just like the same way we have even politics even in places of work. Yeah. You know, most of us, we tend to think that politics is just about our politicians, the normal politicians who goes out to look for votes. But you look even at places of work, they are poor political there. Not that they are affiliated with the political voting system, no. People are just political inside the work, all right? Yeah. So lastly, so I just want again we speak on the last one, that is ethics and morality. From ethics and morality, I also want us to touch science and rationalism, right? So ethics also, remember that we follow secular ethical frameworks, right? Like utilitarianism, humanism, and even the Kantian ethics, and emphasizing on human well-being, moral principle, without relying on religious guidance. When you look at the scientific and rationalism in perspective, you realize that many atheists place strong emphasis on scientific understanding and critical thinking. So we are a proponent of evidence-based, right, in decision making, and also skepticism towards the supernatural claims. So, yeah.
You see, one problem I have with people is that ethics is not per se a scientific thing. Because, while studying philosophy, we used to study ethics on its own, and well, philosophy is different from science, so ethics is not science in this. So one thing atheists tend to confuse is atheism is apart from, that's something we tend to forget. Atheism is apart from ethics. Okay, it could be, let's say, atheistic, but you have ethics that, let's say, mimic a religious person, and maybe someone who does. Many people have asked me, maybe one day I deliver cards. Abdallah, I didn't doctor Muslim, fulani akanisalimia kwa hizo nilizao na biko. So salamu alaykum. Akaongea sijui nikasema yeye nimesema. So we can, ethics, our morals can mimic someone else.
Are ethics different from morals?
Ethics different from morals. You see, that's a whole topic of philosophy. We don't have the time. Let's say he has talked about Kantian however, ethics. About Kant, he has something called the categorical imperatives. There is act as if you're the universal lawgiver. The second is act as if
treat everyone as a means.
Yeah, treat
as
everyone as an end to
in
a means.
themselves, not
Yes,
a means.
yes. And the third one will
You combine one and two. You combine one and two and assume that you are a universal lawmaker that never treats anybody as a means to an end, but an end themselves.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. One thing about Kant is, if kama umesoma Ayn Rand, Kant is one philosopher that, because he has pure reason. Now that is one philosopher, apologist. Christian apologists also like to write on because of the way he's very tricky. His language is very tricky. If you're an atheist now, you're superficial. Hey. Okay. Maybe what I do, can't kidogo, and many apologists wanna write on that. But one flaw about it is you, because it is you, that means it's subjective. If it's subjective, then it has the minute to aitaendana na kila mtu.
Yes.
And morality is not objective. That's one thing. So, in a negate, the mere fact that because of universal law, give it is up to you. So okay, ujama you change at a lazima hata nipende. Na wewe ndio universal lawgiver. Unaona? Na no one can tell you otherwise kwa sababu you are acting as the lawgiver, universal lawgiver. Sio? Na wewe umedecide hata mtu mwingine asipolipea change, staka ndaenda pia mimi, which means umekubali the repercussions. So morally argument yako iko same kwa sababu umekubali both sides. Na ukasema sawa, mimi accept consequences regardless. So you are a morally upright person, mimi argument hatuwezi kata. So ukikaa hapo unasema wewe ni universal lawgiver, tutakupea according to Kant argument, according to Kant's argument. Actually umefulfill hizo ni zote. Na mimi usipopea change obviously tutakuwa na problem.
I think I have to come in there because I am an Kantian ethicist.
Kantian?
Yes.
Wow, you're a Kantian. That's a very strong position.
I know, and I am very aware of its shortcomings. I am a Kantian ethicist with preconditions.
No, you can't say you're a Kantian. Your premise
Okay, so first things first, on philosophy, I think we need to be aware that philosophy focuses on moral reasoning and application of logic. That nothing is either right, is always right or always wrong. That as long as you can justify a position philosophically, then you are good to go. And that's actually the downside of philosophy, that you can literally justify anything under the sun if you have mastered the art of rhetoric and the art of philosophical reasoning. But we still adhere to certain philosophical principles when we need to make decisions. You know, I remember there was a meeting I attended that was organized by Americans, specifically women of color. And they asked during the question and answer session, what's your alternative? You as an atheist, what's your alternative when it comes to life? Life in general. So essentially, she was covering this topic. And I told her we have so many alternatives. We have science when it comes to science, empiricism, and research when it comes to things that can be observed, things that amend themselves to evidence. So we use science. We have logic and reasoning and philosophy when it's something that requires that dimension. We have humanism for morality. We have, what is it called? We have critical thinking. And we also have a sense of community because we've created a society for that very purpose. So for philosophy, I would say that a common philosophical leaning I find among atheists, but as we said earlier on, atheism is merely the answer to the question, does God exist? So you cannot generalize. But I can say for the members in our group specifically, I've noted that there are many utilitarians. Utilitarianism advocates for focusing on the greatest good for the greatest number of people, or advancing well-being. When you care about well-being and reducing harm, then in essence you are adhering to utilitarianism. But now the challenge with utilitarianism is that sometimes people can commit gross violations of human morality. Like utilitarianism can justify taking away the life of one person in order to save 5 because it's the greatest number for the greatest good. So it does have certain limitations. That's why the atheists among us don't call themselves utilitarians, they just call themselves people who care about well-being. Yeah, so there's that. Now for Kantian ethics, as we said, there are 3 rules, like 3 categorical imperatives, that every single person should not treat the other as a means to an end. You should always treat someone as an end. Then you should always think of yourself as a universal law maker. Now, for that one, I think maybe Nikki might have misunderstood it, because when you think of yourself as a universal lawmaker, you actually focus on what the rule or the law that you have just made, the moral law, would do to the rest of humanity. So for instance, if it is stealing, if I tell myself that I'm at a weighbridge, I'm a policeman, and there's this man who looks like Stano here, he looks like he just has money, and I stop him in traffic, and I'm like, should I ask for a bribe or should I not ask for a bribe? Now, the Kantian ethicists would think of themselves as a universal lawmaker, meaning if every single human being did the same thing that I'm doing now, of asking for a bribe from Stano, what would happen to society? Would society be better off or worse off? Yeah. So obviously, society would be worse off if each and every one of us was asking for a bribe whenever we get that opportunity. So because of it, the Kantian ethicist is actually more long-term oriented, and they also think of the repercussions of their actions in terms of the entire human race, not just themselves. So that's what attracted me to Kantian ethics.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, and we need to hear other people's voices also. but maybe you can ask me, and then I'll respond to it after someone else says something.
Okay. Let's say it's here the universal lawgiver, and you're thinking of long-term benefit of the good of the people. Because it's you, there's what you consider good. But according to you, what you consider good might not be true or right. So, and of course, we're imperfect beings, and we're easily corrupted. So obviously, there's some good that you have that, let's say, is not good to other people. No matter the case, no matter the number, hata ukiwa the majority, hata ukiwa minority, hata ukiwa majority. Even if you act as for them to, hata ukiangalia long term itakuwa an ends, a means to an ends.
It's an end.
It's an end. It's the end itself.
Yes.
Yes. To you, even if it's good, it's not necessarily maybe good to other people. To you, it can be good, but kwa watu wengine labda, according to the reality of things, inaweza kuwa different. So it comes back to you, because you are the universal lawgiver. You are like God. When you come home, when you dictate kila mtu, whatever you say goes, no matter the case. So kama whatever you say goes, hata ukisema tunaenda